Salah leaving for Al-Hilal, offers like that are impossible to refuse. De Jong is refusing to extend his contract and has found a new club in the Premier League. Amorim has shown the door to two players who are expected to leave the club in January. Is Ancelotti leaving? Why is Perez preparing to hit the panic button? We'll discuss this and much more in today's episode. Are you ready? Then let's begin. Mohamed Salah, a Liverpool legend and the undisputed king of Anfield for years, might soon pack his bags for Saudi Arabia. Yes, you heard that right. The place where global football stars are flocking, turning the local league into a kind of footballing Hollywood. But let's break it down. It all started last summer when Al-Ittihad stormed the transfer market with a jaw-dropping £150 million offer to lure Salah away from Liverpool. The Reds, however, stood firm. Not for sale. Even at that price. Case closed. Not quite. It looks like the Saudis are going all in and won't back down. Insiders now claim that next summer, the Saudi Pro League will table an offer Salah can't refuse. Think Cristiano Ronaldo level money. He's reportedly earning £177 million a year at Al Nassr. Salah might not have Ronaldo's global clout, but his cultural significance in the Arab world, priceless. This isn't just a transfer, it's what marketers love to call a game changer, a move that could shake up the entire football market. And if you think it's all about the money, think again. For the Saudis, Salah isn't just a player. He's a symbol, an icon, a unifying figure for millions of fans across the Arab world. His move to the SPL would be more than just a transfer. It would be a cultural milestone. Here's the kicker. The Saudi Pro League is no longer some exotic sideshow. It's growing fast, positioning itself as a serious player on the global football stage. Signing Salah would be a massive leap forward in their ambitious project. They're out to prove they can sign top talent still in their prime, not just players winding down their careers. Now, the plot thickens. Salah's contract with Liverpool has just 6 months left. This week, he dropped a cryptic response when asked about renewing. More no than yes. A hint, or just a negotiation tactic for better terms? If Liverpool doesn't lock him down soon, Salah could become a free agent next summer. That would be a dream scenario for the Saudis. No transfer fee required. But for Liverpool, an absolute disaster. Losing Salah wouldn't just mean losing their top scorer, it would be losing the heart and soul of the team. Sure, Liverpool has seen stars leave before, Luis Suarez, Felipe Coutinho, but Salah is different. He's not just about goals, he's the face of the club. His departure would leave a void on the pitch and in the hearts of fans. And here's the big question. Who could replace Salah? Finding someone of his caliber, who fits the system, scores for fun, and terrifies defenders feels almost impossible, especially now with Liverpool in a rebuilding phase. Everything hinges on how Liverpool and Salah negotiate his future. Convincing him to stay would be a massive win for the club. If not, summer 2024 could mark a new era, not just for Salah, but for world football. But the ultimate question remains, is Salah ready for this leap? Ready to leave Anfield, where he's adored, for a new, uncharted chapter in his career? Football, like life, is full of surprises. For now, we can only wonder, will Mohamed Salah be the next king of Saudi Arabia? Well, what can I say? Barca's at it again, another circus on a tightrope. The De Jong saga smells like a full-blown scandal waiting to happen. Long story short, guys, if this Dutch lad doesn't leave this summer, the Catalans might just go ahead and terminate his contract. Now that's a plot twist, huh? Here's the thing. Frenkie doesn't seem to care at all. Barca offered him a new contract ages ago, and he's been as quiet as a fish in water. What, is he eyeing a move to PSG or something? Or is he just waiting to leave for free? Because, let's be real, Barca is far from rolling in cash right now. They're already scraping by financially, and this guy is costing them 35 million a year. 35, Carl. That's not some measly 20 million for a random no-name player. So Barca has decided to go all in. If he won't play ball, they'll force his hand. Either sign a new contract or pack your bags, train station, next club. It's harsh, sure, but honestly, what else can they do? They're not stupid enough to just let an asset like him walk away for nothing. Meanwhile, Mundo Deportivo is reporting that the offer they made to him has expired. What a joke! And Diario Sport has taken it even further, claiming that the board of directors is fully on board with De Jong leaving. Looks like they've had enough of his constant "I only want Barca" talk. And then there's Marca, hinting that the Catalans aren't in any rush anymore. They waited a year for an answer, and what did they get? Nothing. It's starting to look like De Jong has his own plans, and by the looks of it, Barça isn't a part of them. And to make matters worse, there's his injury. He seems to be spending more time in the medical room than on the pitch. Maybe Liverpool has their sights set on him. Rumour has it, Slot wouldn't mind working with him. Although I think Liverpool have enough problems of their own right now, with 3 key players who will be free in the summer. I guess that needs to be solved first. Anyway, the De Jong saga continues, and honestly, I have no idea how it's going to end. Looks like we're in for another transfer thriller. How do you think this story ends? Write your opinion in the comments. If he leaves, is it a great loss for Barça? Paul Pogba is back in the game. True, for now, it's only in training, but by January 2025, we'll be able to see the Frenchman back on the pitch. His doping ban has been reduced, and now he's at a crossroads. Where to go next? After parting ways with Juventus, Pogba became a free agent, and that's where things get interesting. Who will dare to take under their wing a walking injury with an epic background? There's already plenty of talk that Fulham supposedly is a great option for Pogba. Well, there's some logic to it. The pressure there is minimal. The Cottagers are sitting comfortably in 9th place, and everything's going great for them. Paul could quietly regain his form, rack up assists, and become a favourite of the local fans. Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? Perhaps, but something tells me that such a modest choice isn't quite to the liking of the ambitious Frenchman. Paul doesn't just want to play again, he wants to make a splash. By the way, the rumours about Marseille sound much more intriguing. A return to his homeland, familiar stands, the love of the fans, a classic storyline. But here's the question. Does Marseille have the resources for Pogba? Not financial resources, of course, but moral ones. A player like him requires a special approach, and that's something Ligue 1 often struggles with. And what about Arsenal? Now that's an explosive mix. Under Arteta's guidance, Pogba could once again become a machine in the midfield. But let's be honest, after all the screw-ups at Manchester, returning to a top club would be like jumping out of a plane without a parachute. And then another potential candidate enters the scene, Atletico Madrid. Why not? The Colchoneros have always loved versatile players like Paul, and the Spanish league, with its style of play, could be a perfect fit for him. The main thing is that Pogba has enough motivation and, importantly, good health. So, where do you think Paul will go? Share your thoughts in the comments. It looks like the City folks have their eyes set on a major squad rebuild as far ahead as 2025. That's all well and good, but something tells me they might need to start sooner, especially if you look at their current midfield issues. But that's not all. The winds of change seem ready to blow a couple of key players away from the Etihad. Take Kyle Walker, for instance. This defensive beast nearly left the team in 2023. And now, word is, there's transfer talk in the air again. Maybe it's time to make up your mind, Kyle. This back and forth isn't exactly a good look. Are you staying or going? It's all a bit murky. The most interesting part is, of course, the contract renewals. City's got the full package here. De Bruyne, Gundogan, they're all approaching contract expiration. And a lot depends on what happens with them, especially with De Bruyne. The Belgian needs to show his class this season, otherwise, well, you get the picture. Overall, City's situation isn't enviable. On one hand, they were planning a rebuild for 2025. But boom, they've got problems right now, especially in midfield. Looks like they might have to start earlier. On the other hand, if veterans like Walker and, heaven forbid, Ederson, who by the way has been eyeing other teams, start leaving, this won't be just a rebuild, it'll be a complete mess. In short, City's walking through a minefield right now. Problems wherever you step. Need a new right back? Check. Options for the wings and centre of defence? Wouldn't hurt. And I won't even start about Haaland's backup. They can't do without one. He's a scoring machine, but what if something happens? There's no replacement. And in all this chaos, there's Pep Guardiola, probably sitting there thinking, why did I extend my contract? Just kidding, of course. Pep's a strategist. He's probably already run through 10 different schemes in his head about how to get out of this situation. Maybe he'll even put a midfielder as a false 9. Stranger things have happened. So, hang in there, City folks. It won't be easy, but I hope Pep pulls it off. The main thing is to keep your head and remember that City is still that same machine. It just needs some patches. Sure, these aren't the best times, but who said it would be easy? A rebuild isn't child's play. It's serious business, but I believe Pep and company will handle it. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's wait and see how things unfold. It definitely won't be boring. Let City make plans even up to 2030. What matters is the result, and that they keep making us fans happy. we'll support them, no doubt about that. What do you think? Will Pep be able to get this machine running again, or is their title fight over? Share your thoughts in the comments. Real Madrid have reportedly set their sights on Chelsea captain Reece James. But here's the kicker, they're allegedly ready to offer a laughable £20 million for him. Seriously? First thought, this has got to be a joke. Chasing Trent Alexander-Arnold. Makes sense. The guy is a machine, cranking out assists like a factory. But James? He's practically a walking injury. One day it's his knee, the next it's his ankle. He spends more time in the medical room than on the pitch. Why would Real Madrid want that kind of liability? What's next? Filling their treatment center for fun. This feels less like a top-tier transfer and more like a reckless gamble. Unless, of course, it's just another baseless rumor meant to stir up the transfer market. But let's play along for a second. Suppose James really does move to Madrid. Then what? Real Madrid are also eyeing Trent. Check. Pedro Porro from Tottenham, also in the mix. James would have to fight tooth and nail just to get some game time. What's the point of moving to Madrid only to warm the bench, watching Mbappe and Vinicius dazzle? Hardly the dream role for Chelsea's captain, a player with serious ambitions. Meanwhile, Chelsea seem unbothered, pushing Malo Gusto as James's potential successor. Feels like James might soon be surplus to requirements even in London. And selling their captain for £20 million with a contract running until 2028. That's just absurd. Sure, unloading an injury-prone player and saving on wages might be tempting, but doing so at such a low price feels like waving a white flag, a public admission that the club can't manage its players. Plus, the fans would be fuming. James is a fan favourite, and losing him would be a massive blow to Chelsea's image and ambitions. Given Chelsea's recent transfer decisions, though, nothing shocks anymore. Still, the craziest part? James doesn't seem eager to leave. He's Chelsea through and through, a homegrown talent and lifelong fan. Why trade that for a backup role in Madrid? And let's talk about that price tag. Not long ago, James was valued at £80 million and now he's supposedly worth just £20 million? What a joke! If I were James, I'd be insulted. As for Real Madrid, their interest doesn't exactly inspire confidence. This whole saga feels like a smokescreen, a rumor spun out of thin air. Or maybe, just maybe, there's a secret plan we haven't figured out yet. In any case, the situation is as tangled as ever. What's next? Your guess is as good as mine. But one thing's for sure, grab some popcorn. Football's theatre of the absurd is about to kick off its next act. Amorim, the new boss at Manchester United, seems ready to tackle the Herculean task of cleaning up the mess left after Ten Hag. And who's rumoured to be the first on his way out? You guessed it, Antony. This Brazilian trickster, for whom United shelled out a whopping £86 million, has been, let's just say, underwhelming. Amorim gave him a shot at right wing back, but the experiment didn't exactly work wonders. Antony ran around in the new 3-4-2-1 setup for about 60 minutes before being subbed off for Ahmad. Apparently, he didn't impress the Portuguese manager. Now, the word on the street is that United is ready to offload this legend for just £40 million. Can you believe it? Selling him for half price or even less. And naturally, they'll try to offload him in January. Enter Besiktas, who've shown interest in taking Antony on loan. Not a bad idea, really. Let the Turks have a look and maybe they'll decide to buy him outright. But here's the catch. Would Antony even want to go to Turkey? It's not the Premier League and his wages might take a hit. But wait, there's more. Next up is Xerxes, another player who's failed to shine. United paid £37 million for him, but it feels like he spends more time warming the bench than playing. One goal, that's it. Juventus is reportedly interested, which might be a lifeline. Amorim, though, wants to give him a chance, especially with a brutal schedule ahead. 9 matches in a month, including clashes with Arsenal, City and Spurs. Maybe Xerxes will step up in these battles, or is that just wishful thinking? If not, a January move to Serie A could be on the cards. One thing's for sure, big changes are brewing at Old Trafford. It's shaping up to be a fascinating show and we're here for it. Who do you think Amorim will send packing next? Drop your thoughts in the comments, let's discuss. Mikel Arteta seems to have decided that Kai Havertz is getting bored playing alone in attack and has set his sights on a real beast, Alexander Isak from Newcastle. Yep, The same guy who's banging in goals like a machine gun, and who the Magpies wouldn't even let you sniff for less than £115 million. Of course, Isak is a machine, athletic, intelligent, with a killer shot, and he's already settled into the Premier League like a fish in water. But honestly, I have no idea where Arsenal is supposed to get that kind of money. And do you really think Newcastle will just casually let go of their top scorer? Yeah, right. They'll fight tooth and nail for every single pound. You can bet on that. What's even more interesting is that Arteta is reportedly prepared to offload a couple of, let's say, problematic assets to make this transfer happen. The first one likely on his way out is Gabriel Jesus. Yep, the same guy they signed for £45 million, and this season he's scored 1 goal. And he's supposed to be the striker for a top club. He spends more time in the medical room than on the pitch. A walking injury, honestly. Feels like amateur hour, don't you think? But who knows? Maybe they'll manage to offload him to someone and even make a profit. Stranger things have happened. The second lucky one on the chopping block looks to be Oleksandr Zinchenko. The Ukrainian is, of course, a hard-working guy, capable of delivering a stunning pass, but it seems Calafiori has completely taken over his spot at left back. And Tavares is breathing down his neck too. So it looks like Zinny might be packing his bags soon. The only question is, how much can they realistically get for these stars now? Arsenal probably won't make much off these deals. At best, they'll recover maybe half of what they spent. A real gut punch, but c'est la vie, as the French say. So, the situation is pretty amusing. Arsenal wants a top-tier striker, but to make it happen, they have to sell 2 players who were originally brought in to strengthen their attack. A paradox, isn't it? And here you sit wondering, is this Arteta's genius master plan or just another case of transfer fever? Personally, I'm leaning towards the latter. Well, let's see how it all plays out. January can't come soon enough. Well, friends, it's heating up in Madrid again. Carlo Ancelotti seems to be preparing for yet another stop in his eventful career. After all those defeats to Barcelona, Milan, and especially that gut punch at Anfield, the talks about his resignation aren't just loud anymore. They're outright screaming. And to top it all off, Santiago Solari is lurking somewhere nearby, as if he's just waiting for the call to step back onto the coaching bridge. Rumours of Ancelotti's dismissal have been circulating for a while now. The Real Madrid management publicly backs him, or so it seems, but behind the scenes, word is they've been whispering about making a change for quite some time. And it looks like Carlo himself is aware of it. The Italian has already started spreading his resume around, and why not? The options are intriguing. The Brazil national team, for instance. A chance to lead such a powerhouse comes once in a lifetime. Besides, it seems like Carlo is tired of the Madrid drama. So many nerves frayed, he might as well start dyeing his grey hair back. What's going on with Real Madrid? The team is all over the place. Jude Bellingham, who was a scoring machine last season, now looks more like a guy who's forgotten where the goal is. Mbappe is a whole separate story. So much talk, so much drooling over his transfer, but in reality, well, he's missing comical penalties and that's about it. And he doesn't seem too thrilled either. Rumor has it that his relationship with Ancelotti is far from great. Either Carlo doesn't know how to fit Kylian into the system, or Mbappe himself isn't too eager to put in the work. No wonder there's talk that Florentino Perez, a big fan of the Frenchman, is ready to part ways with Ancelotti to keep his new star happy. And now for the most interesting part, Solari. Remember him? The coach who was already in charge when everything was falling apart? Well, he's back in the picture. Rumor has it the Real Madrid management has told him to be ready. If Carlo stumbles again, Santiago will take the helm. And he almost did. If it weren't for Real's recent wins against Osasuna and Leganés, Ancelotti would probably already be packing his bags. But here's the irony. They won. Great. But does that really count as salvation? The defeat to Liverpool turned everything upside down again. You can feel Perez's patience wearing thin, and Carlo seems mentally ready to call it quits. But let's fantasize for a moment. What's next? The Brazil national team? That would be incredible. First, it's a challenge. Second, it's just plain iconic. Carlo has never coached a national team, and here we're talking about Brazil. Though, to be fair, the team isn't exactly at its peak right now. If not Brazil, maybe Carlo will return to club football. Everton, perhaps? Yes, it sounds strange, but remember when he was there and practically declared his love for the Toffees? And now, Everton is in such a state that they'd take anyone with experience. Why not Carlo? But for now, it's all just speculation. In reality, Carlo is gearing up for a meeting with Florentino Perez, and this promises to be a conversation not for the faint of heart. Perez will undoubtedly push for immediate changes, and Ancelotti is unlikely to agree easily. The Italian is famously stubborn, but no matter how much Florentino dances around the issue, the fact remains: Real Madrid is in deep crisis. The team isn't delivering consistent performances, key players are either injured or out of form, and the bench, well, that's a whole different story. So, what's the outcome? Most likely, Ancelotti will be sacked. If not now, then in a couple of months. In any case, the Madrid rumour mill is already buzzing about who might replace him. Solari? Maybe. Or perhaps Perez will pull another surprise. He's good at that. But one thing is clear: Real Madrid is stuck in a cycle. Crisis, coach fired, new coach, initial euphoria, decline, rinse and repeat. For now, all we can do is watch and see how this latest Madrid drama unfolds.